crime story.
The mysterious vanishing of 17-year-old Brianna Maitland unfolds in a rather perplexing manner. In March 2004, Brianna Alexandra Maitland vanished without a single clue. Her disappearance prompted various speculations, ranging from potential involvement with a drug cartel to fears of a serial killer lurking in the shadows. Yet, law enforcement never managed to unearth the truth behind her mysterious absence. On the morning of March 19, 2004, Brianna embarked on a typical day, first driving to school to undertake her GED test. Following this, she enjoyed a cheerful lunch with her mother and later toiled diligently as a dishwasher at the Black Lantern Inn in Montgomery. Upon completing her shift, she climbed into her car and set out for home. Tragically, that marked the last moment she was sighted. Nearly 2 decades have elapsed since her disappearance, leaving us with unanswered questions. What befell Brianna? Where could she have vanished to? Is there a remote possibility that she is still among the living? Early years. Born on October 8, 1986, Brianna Maitland spent her early years in East Franklin, a town nestled near the Canadian border, alongside her parents, Bruce and Kelly, as well as her older brother. Her upbringing followed a fairly conventional path, excelling academically and demonstrating a fervent dedication to the practice of jiu-jitsu. Nonetheless, at the age of 17, an unexpected change of course occurred in Brianna's life. She expressed her desire for independence, disclosing her wish to switch schools, leave her parents' home, and reside with friends. In the Maitland household, significant conflicts were scarce, and her parents steadfastly supported her ambitions. It seemed that Brianna yearned for a taste of adventure, finding life in their rural community unbearably mundane. In a gesture of goodwill, her parents granted her the freedom to pursue her aspirations. By October 2003, Brianna relocated to Enosburg Falls, just 24 kilometers away from her home. She enrolled in a new high school and took up residence in the house of a close friend. However, her journey took an unexpected turn, leading her to shift living arrangements multiple times. Without a stable abode, she cycled through various accommodations, spending about a week in one location and the next in another. Given her refusal to accept financial support from her parents, Brianna took on part-time employment to sustain herself. This irregular lifestyle inevitably impacted her academic performance, ultimately resulting in her departure from school by the year's end. As February drew to a close in 2004, Brianna's constant shifts in living arrangements had taken their toll on her friendships, leading her to seek refuge with an old childhood companion, Giuliana Stout. Giuliana resided with her parents in Sheldon, a locality situated 32 kilometers away from Brianna's home. It was here that Brianna's life took on a semblance of stability. While she no longer attended traditional school, she did enroll in a GED program, an alternative to the standard state testing for school students and typically utilized by those who are homeschooled. In order to make ends meet, Brianna took on dual employment roles, working as a dishwasher at the Black Lantern Inn and serving as a waitress at KJ's Diner in the nearby town of St. Albans. Despite facing numerous challenges, Brianna persevered with unwavering determination. Her aspirations were anchored in the belief that she could successfully pass her GED examination and, ultimately, attend college to pave the way for a brighter future. Unfortunately, life had other plans. The day she disappeared. A mere 3 weeks prior to her puzzling disappearance, Brianna Maitland attended a gathering that took a rather unsettling turn when she was subjected to an assault by a former acquaintance, Kelly Lacrosse. The precise motivation behind this attack remains shrouded in uncertainty, though Brianna's father strongly suspects that jealousy might have played a role. It is believed that Kelly harbored envy over the attention Brianna received from a young man she was also interested in. What struck witnesses as particularly peculiar was Brianna's lack of self-defense during the altercation. Astonishingly, she possessed formidable expertise in jiu-jitsu, allowing her to competently handle even young men during training. Nevertheless, on this occasion, she made no attempt to defend herself. As a result of the attack, she ended up in the hospital the following day, her injuries encompassing a broken nose and a diagnosed concussion. Another enigmatic aspect of this episode was Brianna's initial decision to refrain from reporting the incident to the police. It was only upon her father's insistence that she eventually filed a report, although she appeared to waver in her decision to do so. On the fateful morning of March 19, 2004, Brianna achieved a significant milestone by acing her JED examination, earning an exceptionally high score. She promptly shared this exhilarating news with her mother, Kelly, who extended an invitation to commemorate the occasion by going out for lunch. After their meal, the duo decided to embark on a shopping excursion, each intending to pursue their respective activities. Kelly, recalling the moments they spent together, later informed the authorities that Brianna exuded an exuberant mood and engaged in fervent discussions about the colleges she aspired to attend. However, the sequence of perplexing events continued to unfold. While waiting in line at the store's checkout counter, Brianna suddenly appeared to be alert to someone or something and swiftly exited the store. When Kelly completed her purchase and stepped out into the corridor, Brianna was nowhere to be found. Presuming that her daughter might be waiting outside, Kelly ventured to the parking lot, where she did indeed encounter her daughter, who appeared visibly perturbed, shocked, and anxious. Brianna, however, seemed reticent and on edge, as if she believed she was being followed. Kelly inquired about her well-being, to which Brianna cryptically responded that she had to get ready for work. Knowing her daughter's independent spirit, Kelly refrained from further questioning and instead provided her with a ride to the residence of the friend with whom Brianna was staying. She dropped her off around 3:30 p.m. In the interim, Brianna spent a couple of hours at her friend's house before heading to work in her 1985 Oldsmobile sedan. But before departing, yet another unusual occurrence unfolded. Brianna left a note for her friend, simply stating that she would be back tonight after work. Such a message was entirely out of character, especially considering that everyone was aware of her plans to live with her friend until the summer's end. Upon her arrival at the Black Lantern restaurant, where she was employed as a dishwasher, nothing about Brianna's behavior seemed awry, and she efficiently carried out her work responsibilities, as was her customary practice. At the end of her shift, her colleagues invited Brianna to join them for a late dinner. However, she declined, citing her early morning waitressing job as the reason. At 11:20 p.m., when her shift concluded, Brianna, alone in her Oldsmobile, embarked on her journey homeward. Tragically, this marked the final time anyone would ever set eyes on her. She vanished into thin air. On the morning of March 20, 2004, law enforcement received a distress call regarding an abandoned farm approximately 1.5 miles from the Black Lantern Inn. Upon their arrival at the scene, officers discovered Brianna Maitland's car had collided with the wall of a solitary barn colloquially known as the Old Dutchburn House. The accident had been initially reported around 5, but subsequent revelations disclosed that the car had been first sighted at approximately 23:40, merely 20 minutes after Brianna had left her workplace. The initial observer noted that the car's headlights were illuminated, yet no one was in close proximity to it. Strangely, the next individual who passed by the accident site at 30 reported not only headlights in operation but also the car's turn signal flashing. Given the remote and infrequently traveled location, it remained unclear how many others may have passed by without reporting the incident. When the police arrived around 8, they encountered a locked car with a plywood sheet affixed to the trunk, presumably dislodged from a boarded-up window during the collision. Adjacent to the vehicle, several items were found, including coins, a bracelet, a water bottle, and an unlit cigarette, even though Brianna didn't smoke, suggesting it may have been hidden. Inside the car's front seat lay 2 uncashed paychecks intended for Brianna. Notably, various personal belongings vital to Maitland, such as a contact lens container, migraine medication, bank cards, eyeglasses, and other items she invariably carried, were left within the vehicle. Despite thorough scrutiny, there were no overt signs of Brianna at the accident scene. The car was subsequently towed, and her parents were promptly informed. Kelly and Bruce, growing increasingly concerned as they could not locate their daughter, initiated a search, reaching out to all of Brianna's friends, but none possessed knowledge of her whereabouts. After an agonizing 3-day wait, Kelly and Bruce decided to formally report their daughter as missing to the police. Investigation. Up until her parents officially reported her as missing, authorities initially operated under the assumption that Brianna had chosen to run away. Subsequently, their perspective underwent a significant shift, leading them to suspect that a far graver event had befallen the young girl. "We suspect Brianna was the victim of a kidnapping," disclosed Major Glenn Hall of the Vermont State Police to Fox News. "It's not a hopeless case, and we're actively working to investigate it." Since then, the investigative efforts have faced numerous challenges, although several intriguing details have come to light. Notably, DNA traces of unidentified individuals were discovered both at the site of Brianna Maitland's disappearance and within her car. While authorities have been circumspect in their comments, they have not ruled out the unsettling possibilities of murder or kidnapping. Major Hall further acknowledged the potentiality of someone concealing themselves within her car before orchestrating her abduction, underscoring the perplexing nature of the case. Brianna's father, Bruce Maitland, harbors a less sanguine view regarding the prospects of finding his daughter. "I don't think it was an accident where she was in the wrong place at the wrong time," he remarked to Fox News. "There's a lot we don't know about Brianna's life, especially what she may have been doing for the past 6 months. It appears Kelly became entangled with those responsible for what transpired." Curiously, a former friend, Kelly Lacrosse, who had attacked Brianna 3 weeks prior to her disappearance, was initially not seriously considered a suspect, and police later dismissed any notion of her involvement in the case. Notably, just a month before Brianna's disappearance, another puzzling case unfolded approximately 180 kilometers away, involving the vanishing of Maura Murray in northwestern New Hampshire. This proximity between the two incidents prompted speculation about the involvement of a potential serial killer, though the investigations failed to definitively confirm or dispel this theory. Subsequent to her disappearance, there were various reports regarding Brianna Maitland, either being held captive or having met a tragic fate. The first anonymous report emerged in April 2004, suggesting that the girl was held against her will by drug dealers in the nearby town of Berkshire. Law enforcement promptly responded to this lead, but regrettably, it yielded no trace of Brianna. Similar reports continued to surface in late 2004 and early 2005, yet none of them could be substantiated. From 2010 to 2016, a series of news reports described sightings of a woman bearing a striking resemblance to Brianna Maitland in various parts of the country, spanning from Alaska to Washington, D.C. In one peculiar incident, when a woman who bore a resemblance to her entered a coffee shop and was asked if she resembled Brianna Maitland, her reaction was notably suspicious. She promptly left without placing an order. More recently, a fresh development has emerged, potentially offering a glimmer of hope in unveiling the circumstances surrounding Brianna's disappearance. In March 2022, the Vermont State Police disclosed that they had discovered a match for a DNA sample found on an object near Brianna's car. While the identity of this individual remains undisclosed, it was revealed that he is one of 11 suspects in the preliminary stages of the ongoing investigation. With this newfound development, there's a growing optimism that the enigma shrouding Brianna Maitland's disappearance may finally be unraveled, and the truth behind that fateful March night in 2004 may soon come to light. I hope you liked this story. Please don't forget to leave a comment sharing with your thoughts below. Give a thumbs up this video, and remember to hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more captivating stories. Thank you for joining us on this remarkable journey, and we'll see you in the next video.